this orange fish looked really, really cool. Let's like separate him. Like let's put him in a different bowl, and we'll start raising him, and eventually we'll breed him up with another orange fish. Maybe we'll get more orange fish out of it. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool history actually, and that's probably another whole other talk, right? But when Kohaku first came out, some people, I don't know, a lot of people speculate like the first time Kohaku were talked about were like in the early 1800s. The real big like race to make what we know as like a modern Kohaku started out in the 40s, right? The 1940s. And Kohaku actually, when they were born, they were an orange-bellied fish, right? So they had like a white top and an orange belly, right? And the race has been to take that orange off of the belly and get it to the top of the fish, right? So a traditional Kohaku pattern is this white-bodied fish with like red like steps on top of it, like stepping stones or interesting patterns. So when we're talking about color, the first thing we're going to talk about is the white, which is the base of the fish. So this kind of goes back to that canvas conversation that we're having, right? So if you're gonna have this really, really cool painting of red that you're gonna do, you're gonna want to put that on the most contrasting piece that you can, which is going to be that real like snow white, like bright white. And so this is like I kind of like this because this is a very expensive fish, and so you can see like you see the head color here is sort of almost kind of a yellowish color, right? No, that's not perfect. It's not bad. This is actually a pretty nice koi, but this could be a little bit more white. And we won't actually see, say we're looking at a tosai or a koi that's less than a year old or a 2-year-old koi, and it has a yellow head. That's not a problem. Like they just have every 2-year-old koi, even if it's like a $400,000 fish, it's probably going to have like a yellow head. But as a fish is over 2 or 3 years old, we really want to see that head like turn into that nice bright white that the rest of the body will follow with. And we want that white to go from the head all the way to the tail. The red, on the other hand, like the actual, like the color of the red, that's a really, really interesting like topic because originally in koi keeping, we were definitely looking for a persimmon red, right? So do you guys know what a persimmon is?
Fruit.
It is a fruit, right? And
Jennifer Cagney.
it's a pretty delicious fruit. If you ever had persimmons.
Really?
Persimmons in America don't have seeds. I think Japanese ones do. So kind of a pain to eat sometimes. But looking at, you guys can see that persimmon right there. That's sort of the original like color that we're trying to recreate with a Kohaku. But it's definitely sort of an orange-based red compared to what I call like a purple-based red, right? So old school Kohaku, we really, really like this sort of orange-based red. What that means is the red is really, really thick. So if you're gonna take like your fingernail and like etch off on the Kohaku, you would pull off like a little layer of skin off the koi, and there'd still be like red underneath there. No, I'm definitely not saying you guys should like take your thumbnail to your that's not cool. But say for example you bash in a rock, you can see the quality of the beni. And when I say beni, I mean like the quality of the red, the thickness of the red. So that's what we're looking for originally. Nowadays, koi breeders have gotten so good at producing just the most amazing koi out there. Let's look at the All Japan Grand Champion. Let's go with what would be a Kohaku. I think 2011. Alright. Let's watch a video. looking at this koi, so this is like the best koi in the whole world in 2011, right? This is a Sakai Hiroshima Kohaku. I think I actually judged this koi show. I think I helped pick this koi, but I could be wrong. But if you look at that red, that's a very, very, very strong red. It's almost more of like a kind of a blood red, right? A little bit less persimmon and a little bit stronger red. And that's just sort of the evolution of koi and how koi have evolved since, the use compared to today.
It has no
Man, looking at this koi, we can talk about so many different things about this koi because it's such a good example of what like a perfect kohaku looks like. So I'm gonna pause this video here, and this koi is huge, right? This thing's massive. This thing's like 35 inches, right? So this thing's just a monster, and you can see how beautiful white it is. I mean, you can see how down here, like, it reflects the blue really, really well. You can see even on the top of there, it kind of reflecting the lighting. The other thing we see here is the depth, because can you guys see like the scales sort of on there, right? You see like where my mouse is circling, you see this sort of this color of the scale, and then you see like right here it's even whiter, right? That's really talking about the fukrin, right, or the actual skin quality of the fish, and it's where the scale is sort of like in a crater with the skin surrounding it, and this is just perfect quality skin. This is what we're looking for. And then with the Benny, with the red, we're looking for two things. So on the back side of the pattern, right, you see the back side here. This is what we would call your kiwa, right? And on the front side of the pattern, where my mouse is here, this is what we call sashi, right?
I think Kia is
So back side's kiwa, front side's sashi. The back side for kiwa, we're really looking for something that's really, really strong and stable, because that shows and really, really well cut and defined. So if that looks blurry at all, that's no good. Definitely don't want blurry. We want real strong. On the front side, we want sashi. And so if you look on this step here, do you see how right here it's a little bit blurry?
This terminology is so important.
Red that's still coming up out of the white, right?
We're going to go through
we don't
all
see
of
it on
them.
the front side of here, but that's because this koi is gigantic and it's what we call finished.
Jennifer,
Like
this is kind of an introduction.
it's
every
perfect.
detail.
Yes.
The biggest thing, at least for me, is I don't know how to spell any of this stuff. So
Well,
it would
we're
have been
gonna
nice to
go
have
through-
that.
And like this is an introductory where Sean's showing you all this. You get used to the terminology of what they're doing in koi shows they're looking for. And then we're going to go through the whole definition sheets. And we're going to put them up so that we can constantly go over that. Right, Sean?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And again, like, Robin, because this is the first time that we've done anything like this, or at least the first time I've done this sort of talk.
Right.
Am I probably talking a bit too advanced now, or do we want to?
No, because Sean, the whole thing is that this is all going to end up that we're going to be with you and Michael at a koi show, and to learn that terminology and hear it for the first time is scary. It was for me, and so what we're going to do is this is like an introductory, so that they can get used to the terminology that the average koi person uses, and then we're going to put out the definitions and keep going over it, and then associating Kia, Fukuro, and all that, and showing exactly what each thing is. But I don't think you can get that all in one meeting.
Right.
So I think you're doing beautifully.
Okay.
Just know that we don't know any of that terminology.
Sure. So yeah, just to kind of go over kind of real quick what like the terminology that I'm using right now. First, we're talking about sashi, right? So sashi, S-A-S-H-I. reference to the leading edge of a pattern, right? So on if you have like a stepping stone that's red color, it's going to be the frontmost part of the pattern. So like this section of the pattern, right?
Okay.
And then the back side, right here, we call that kiwa. Kiwa is Kiwa.
Oh, I was wrong.
So on this little step right here, this front part is a sashi, this back side's a kiwa. On this step, this is the kiwa, and this is the sashi.
And Jennifer, I'll make
Thank you, that helps.
Jennifer, I'll make sheets up so that we copy that,
Yeah.
and then we'll put little things and say Kiwa, Sasha,
Yeah.
and go like that for you.
That helps, Sean, thank you.
Okay, cool. And some of the terms that I'll probably accidentally drop just because my brain interprets the word all the same. It's we're gonna talk about red. And the word we use for red is beni. B-E-N-I.
Will you say that one more time?
Yeah, but she
Wait,
just banged the
Matt
door.
heard this way. Not like out the back, like through the back. She wasn't.
Say it again, Sean.
Benihana's out there. Have you guys ever been to Benihana's?
Yes.
It's like a delicious Japanese restaurant, right? You do the teppanyaki type stuff. So his name Benihana pretty much means like red flower, right? So Beni means is like a type of red flower. Hana is another word that we use to talk about like red color.
He is another one that's associated with red.
He
is
just
H-I.
He actually means fire in Japanese. So like, you ever heard of like a hibachi grill before, right? Hibachi actually means like fire bowl. And then when we talk about white, we use white a lot. You know, in most koi have like a white base. We use the word shiro. Shiro is S-H-I-R-O. And typically when we talk about like white skin, we use the word shiroji.
That's S-H-I-J. What was the rest of it?
S-H-I-R-O.
Brianna? Brianna? Kira?
What?
It's feel bad.
I told her go on this way, not to go through the back. I didn't say go outside. She said.
Alright, you got that for the most part?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, and then obviously I don't expect you guys to remember all this stuff the first go around. This is just stuff to
It's repetition.
start to recognize. And as you start looking at koi, you'll be able to recognize these sort of things and put like vocabulary words to something you understand. When we're talking about Kohaku, right, we really want, let's go back to the middle of this video here. When we're talking about the red here, we really want the red from the tip to the back to be all uniform, right? So it shouldn't have this sort of janky light orange section in the middle. Like the depth of the red that's on the back of the koi should be the same depth of red that's in the front of the koi. And that's really, really hard to achieve because check it out.
It is.
On the head of this koi, it doesn't have any scales, right? It's just a bunch of skin and bone. So the pigmentation appears different on skin than it will on scales, right? Because scales are all big and deep. So typically a head of a koi will be much darker red than on the back of the body. But when it's fully matured, it should sort of all equal up. That's a really good way to tell, like when you're picking out a small koi, whether it's going to be nice or not, based on how deep the red is in the head. It'll give you good potential on that. So we're looking for evenness in color, both in the white, the red, and then lastly is pattern. And pattern's like really, really subjective. And you're talking to, so like I take a very like Shinko-kai approach to judging koi, which is different than say Z and A, which are can't tell you what's good and what's bad, like what you like, right? Like you can look at a beautiful painting on a wall and you can say, hey, this painting's awesome, I like it because it reminds me of my dog and growing up on a farm in Oklahoma, and I could look at that painting and be like, oh, this painting's really boring to me, this is lame, right? And I'm not right, you're not right. It's all about like within the eye of the beholder. So pattern is really, really, really subjective, but let's say there are certain things we're looking for. We're looking for balance. So on this koi, notice this white area in the tail here is white. It's a very, very nice like frame and a nice border, right? Now this koi has like a red nose, right? And typically in the koi world, that's a big no-no, because that means like the fish isn't balanced. Like it's too heavy of red up on the front. But literally looking at like the nicest fish in the world, right? And that's showing you like how subjective pattern can be. How we're more interested in the size, the shape of the fish, and we're more interested in the color quality. And the pattern is just really more there for flare effects, right? But typically we want like a nice white nose and a nice white tail, right? Because that makes a nice frame around the koi. And then we're looking for a nice balance in between that. And balance is also kind of a confusing thing because we tend to think of symmetrically, right? You guys understand symmetrically, like there'll be 30% of red on the right, we want about percent of red on the left. Something can be asymmetrical as well. So maybe we have really heavy red on the front right side of the fish, and then on the left side we don't have much red at all, but we have a lot of red in the back, and that helps balance it out. So we're looking for balance, but balance is a funny word. So that's what you're looking for with Kohaku. Let's look at the same thing. Let's look at Taisho Sanke. So that would be.
And remember, Taisho is the era.
Koisho. Let's go. I think 2010 is. No, that's a song. That's a Kohaku as well.
We'll get this all figured out too on this Skype and things, because that way you can show live fish, and everything when you're doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
2011. All right, we're gonna talk about showas real quick because.
Can you see why we didn't cover all the fish?
So this is I judge this all Japan koi show as well. This showa is just freaking awesome.
You spell showa.
Totally.
SHOWA.
Now, a couple things to take note of, right? You notice the red is a much different color, right? This is much more of that persimmon orange I was talking to you guys about earlier, compared to that last Kohaku, which was almost like a fire red, or like a cherry red, right? This is a much more traditional color in red. So all the same exact things apply in a Kohaku as they do as a showa, as far as we're looking for a nice balanced pattern, we're looking for really nice white, looking for evenness in color. So the red's good here, the red should be good here, but now we have this whole other element of black. And so what we're going to use for black is sumi, S-U-M-I. And sumi means ink, which is like what you're using to write down your notes on right now. Ink has a very, very, black should be very, very inky, meaning it should be very, very deep and very thick and almost like shiny. Like so like this koi, seeing this video doesn't does it no justice whatsoever. Like when you see this fish in person and you look at the black, it looks like you can stare into that black and that black just goes on forever. Like it's just really, really deep, deep and inky and shiny and almost like oily. You know how like if you look at like a puddle of oil, like it looks like you can look really deep and far into it. That's what you see when you look into the depth of this showa. So where showa different than kohaku. Kohaku is like a white-based fish. The showa is actually a black-based fish. So like when this guy was, he was black, right? And then white came up, and then eventually after that, the sumi started to creep through where that black is. I'm sorry, where the white was.
How big is that showa?
Oh, go ahead. Did you have a question?
Yeah, how big is that showa?
93 centimeters, if I remember right. So again, like in that 35 inches.
I don't know what diameter is.
And what made this was actually like a smaller speech that was up for champion. And for me, it didn't matter. Everything else that this fish possessed was just awesome. So what made this fish look so incredible? You can see
Hi, is Brianna
how
there?
deep because it looks like someone
Tell her to come on back
just took
down.
like a
Sarah
Sharpie
just meant her
and
to go through the back door.
drew awesome rings around this fish.
Tell her
Body
to come on
shape's
down
perfect. We
because
talked
we're
about body shape
videotaping the
earlier.
meeting.
And in that sumi we're looking for, we're just looking for beautiful
Yeah,
black
take your time.
bands that go across the fish. And then we also like something kind of nice and interesting as
Come
far
on
as the
back
head
down.
pattern
Sarah was
goes.
just trying to say come through the back door
That's
because
really
we're
where shows get
videotaping. So I kept
like
looking for you to
shine
come through the back
and
door
really
and you
cool
didn't.
face
So come
pattern.
on
So
back down.
let's go back to
Okay.
let's see if we can see some different shows here. I think, yeah. So my shows that I have here are all fish that are still developing black, right? So actually on this fish today, because I still have this fish, that black is actually developed into sort of a cool, you see the beginning of a Y here, and that black actually connects to where the nose is. So yeah, so we're looking for a nice hachiwari, like a Y shape of black. So that is showa. Lastly, on the big three we have is sanke. And let's go back to that sanke that we had video for. Because this is actually a really good example of taisho sanke. So in taisho sanke, where we had those big black lines in big stripes. Here we're looking for little steps of sumi or like little blotches of black. And you can see here, you see how it's all sort of gray or blue colored, right? And then there's only this one strong black area right here. That's because the sumi has not come up yet. So it's still hiding underneath that white and it's going to eventually come up.
But notice how wonderful and licorice colored that black that is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Robin, you should see this. This fish, I think, won first place, best in variety at ZNA just last weekend.
Wow.
And the sumi on it now, like the black is all up. So where you see this little gray spot right now, if you looked at it today, it'd be this big, deep black, inky sort of step. So here we're looking at more like what people would describe footsteps. So if you were to imagine like a deer was traversing through this like snowy area, you would see like these are his little footsteps. So he's got like a step here, and then he stepped here, and then hung out here for a little bit and sort of made his way down, right? So you can kind of see the difference between a sanke and a showa show up big black stripes, sanka, little steps.
So in a young fish, you don't want the black to be overwhelming, because when it finishes out, you want this